Hello and welcome to the 4Corners podcast. I'm Brad, joined as always by Matt and Shed. Gentlemen, how are you doing this evening?
I'm slightly sunburned because I was out in the sun all day and it was like 80 something degrees.
I am delightfully comfortable. I have windows open even though it's evening here. It's going to be wonderful until tomorrow when it's all going to, fall apart again.
It's supposed to be nice again here tomorrow and then like drop 30 degrees
It's supposed to be
as the
nice again here
high.
tomorrow.
My room is
Well, I
my
mean
room
it's gonna be
is
bad soon enough. So I'll
Yo,
take
it
the
it'll
one
it'll
extra
be
day.
bad for me a day ahead of you. So
Mm-mm.
my room is not temperate, so when it's cold outside, it's cold. When we start heading into the summer, I will be in here sweating like a pig like I was last summer just sitting here. So, um the good thing about this being my PC room though is if you play a nice demanding PC game, it does warm up nicely, except I upgraded my system in the fall, so it does not have to work very hard anymore. So, and I switched to cooler components because I went AMD instead of Intel.
I'm afraid I might have a RAM stick that's starting to go, and I'm
Oh, no.
terrified of what that would imply or
I
what
think
that would.
the I think the prices
Well,
are starting to come back down on that a little bit.
I was gonna say get ready for that second mortgage.
Yeah. Well, okay, but after the study that ChatGPT published, it's like maybe not so much. It might be starting to let air out of the balloon.
Well, someone, I think it was Nvidia or Intel, backed out of a deal with them recently.
Darn.
Yeah, I know. But
Hate that.
Bryan Danielson madness continues this week. We're going to be going over his early years, primarily in the Texas Wrestling Alliance. Which, if you were a fan in like I would say, in like 99, 2000, you had heard of this promotion because Shawn wrestled his like first couple of matches after his back injury there.
Hmm.
Some notable people came out of it, and we'll talk about a couple of those tonight. And I want to say before we get too deep into it, we are not going to be here next week. We're going to have the week off. And then we'll be back with some more Danielson goodness. But first, we do have some, I would say, modern drama to talk about.
hmm,
Because I swear to God, I keep saying, like, oh, good, we can finally stop talking about WWE this year. But then they do something that we want to talk about. So they keep kind of like,
mm.
because they keep kind of like shooting themselves in the foot over and over again. So if you don't know, Cody won the title back from Drew on Friday on SmackDown, and it did not go over well at all.
It the thing that has been more
No.
notable to me is not only did it not go over well, but how poorly it has gone over on media and replays after the fact. I think it is the
It,
most disliked video on the WWE YouTube channel now.
I
Really?
think last
Yeah,
time I think I heard it was like up to 1.6 million dislikes.
yeah,
And they tried to do either WWE or Cody's people, like tried to do this whole spin where it was like, oh, it was just bots. But it's like, and people have pointed out that it's like to get the level of bot, like over a million bots, it wasn't just like here only pay $5 to pay people, pay bots to do that, employ bots. I guess it would be like a lot of money. It's like someone really is putting a lot of money to really like making this the dislike, and also bot activity would happen like all in a flurry like at once and then just stop because it's like you paid the bot adds like 100,000
yeah.
dislikes and then that's it. It's kept going. It
And
just kept going
well, and the
over
thing is,
over the past weeks.
YouTube would notice that. They're not stupid.
Yeah, and I think actually YouTube has the authority or has the power to actually like if
They
they
do.
see it's like bot activity, they can like remove those dislikes
No, if
for
you
at least for the bot activity. Like,
if
yeah.
you if you could see the things I could see in my panel, like um how much they can tell you. Well, people have to like fill it out, but like I could tell you generally what the age group that watches. I could tell you the gender breakdown. I could tell you the country breakdown. I could tell you what videos people came from, what videos they go to. Um, there's a lot you can see in YouTube, so it's not like a big surprise, and they would
Hmm.
notice, and that's always a cope because no one's gonna spend that much money on it because it's just dumb. And then Meltzer was kind of talking about, uh, I don't know, Meltzer's a little too data driven for his own good because he's kind of talking about the difference. I don't know. I saw the clip. I can't remember now. He was talking about the difference how sometimes online is not what the arena is reacting to, which I think is fair, but I think he's trying to. Meltzer's living in this world where I think he's trying to figure out like why things aren't, describe why things are going over so poorly online, but like their numbers haven't totally crashed out yet, which they are.
Mhm.
Their numbers are crashing. Um, and I don't know if it's just something that's not like I don't know if the concept like just doesn't, because he says it sometimes, so I think he understands like the concept of inertia, which is what I was saying last year. Is like, yeah, their booking's not going over very well, but inertia is going to carry them a long time because it takes a while for tickets and like engagement to catch up to like where where frustration is starting, and because
Yeah.
even if you look at like WCW, um where you could say the product started going downhill in the second half of 1998, but they were still doing great numbers for almost another year.
hmm it's breaking. It's people falling out of the habit.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah.
have to get to a point where they're like, "Man, I'm not enjoying this," and then they fall out of doing it because that's what they've been doing.
Yeah.
Um,
Or the straw that
so
breaks the camel's back, where they're holding on, just hoping it gets better, and something finally happens that,
no, I just can't take anymore. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Meltzer has given a lot of excuses for why WrestleMania isn't selling well, and I mean, it's all relative because Mania has sold like 30,000, I think, or so each
Mm-hmm.
night, but it's not done remotely as what it did the previous year. And Meltzer's offered all these like excuses. It's like, well, it's high ticket prices.
No, it is. I mean,
It's well, it is like it's also like running the same venue as last year. It's hotels in that for that weekend jacking up because there's some other like big media convention or something going on that weekend. So it's a very active weekend in Las Vegas, so it's more expensive to book a hotel there. So that's also depressed people. It's people who maybe would go to Mania internationally, not flying to the United States because obviously there's a lot of geopolitical
well,
issues happening right now in America that
there's other
foreigners
things.
don't want to travel to.
Or they went to the Olympics. They're going to the World Baseball
Yeah.
Classic. If you're
The
coming in,
World Cup is this year. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
If
it
you're
starts really soon.
one like two, if I was an international traveler too, let's just throw it out there. If I'm doing it for WrestleMania, I might also like it's a vacation too. Like, why do I want to go back to Vegas when there's a whole big ass country I might want to?
But they're freaking out.
And you would have to
Um,
be rich too. Like that's the other thing. Like a lot of other countries do not like most other countries don't have the buying power of people in the United States. So like, yeah, you might have done that last year. Can't afford to do it this year. And like, because I
yeah.
mean, most people in the United States can't afford to do it. And if you listen to like, I think a good, I think a good, I would have to find a clip. There's a clip of Vinny and Tom Waller talking about it, and they live close. They live within driving distance of it, and they're both just like, damn, like if because like Lawler's like, man, like these prices need to come down like far enough so I can at least afford to go without taking out a second mortgage. Like I think you
Mhm.
get the real mentality of people that actually want to go, but they're priced out. Which if
Melts.
I've mentioned it once, but if you want an underrated show where Brian is still like I think it's the best work Brian Alvarez does is the Brian Alvarez and Tom Lawler shows are awesome.
They're pretty good. I think Tom usually keeps Brian on his toes. They're fun.
And they're much more like Tom just likes taking the piss out of stuff.
Mm.
also I've enjoyed watching some clips from the Brian and Vinny show where they don't have to feel like that they're keeping it sanitized or anything. Like they let unfettered opinions fly, and that can be a lot of
I
fun to listen to.
I love Vinny, even when I don't agree with Vinny. I love Vinny.
Yeah,
I've actually met him.
He seems
I
like
met him in person. He's a very nice guy. Like he's a guy that he's I won't say he's like quiet per se, but he's not like he's gonna kick the door open like the party. He's a
yeah.
little more subdued, but he's really a really nice guy to talk to in person. And you could talk to him about stuff like all night long, and he's just a really good dude. Um, I let me make a point. Meltzer made all these arguments. They're rational, like that, and they probably are to some degree true. But the WWE is still freaking out, to the point where I even saw line like like an hour or two ago. Someone was like, "Oh, this person posted." Whereas she said like, "Oh, sales must be bad," and she basically showed like a screen cap, and it was where someone from like the WWE ticketing like called her like, "Hey, like we'll offer you a discount like if you buy a ticket." And to get a call from the like, WWE is not just calling me; it's like you must have gone to shows before, like whatever.
Yeah,
But they're like cold calling people who like previous have gone to something to get them to buy a ticket to Mania. Maybe this is a person who's gone to Mania multiple
like
times, whatever.
I can tell.
But there's
To go along with that, so
Go ahead.
I was I can't I it was a monetary thing mostly, but I was a season ticket holder for the Blue Jackets for like 5 or 6 years, and you can
Yeah.
tell when they had a bad off season when they're texting and emailing you like an ex-girlfriend wanting to get back together. Like you can tell when
Yeah.
it's bad. You can
Yeah,
Hey,
this
when
is-
you gonna get those season tickets again?
they're like, hey,
Yeah.
hey, if you agree just to listen to us for 5 seconds, we'll give you like front row seats by like the benches. We'll get you autographs. Like
it's yeah. What happened with this person is a little different than, for example, like I will get emails, and I just got one like a week or two ago from like Ticketmaster because I've bought shows from Ticketmaster to go to wrestling shows before. So they'll send Ticketmaster will send me like an advertisement being like, "Hey, WWE is coming to your area like, in a month or something." And it's like, "Okay." They'll do that, but this seems like it's a little different. But someone brought up a point, and I fully believe that this is exactly why. I don't know for sure. Meltzer would probably know, but it has to be true. This is why they're freaking out. It's because yeah, they're making a lot of money. They're still going to make millions probably off this gate and everything with Mania. They always make a ton of money off Mania. So even a Mania that doesn't sell remotely as well, even last year, it'll still make a ton of money. And ticket prices are higher, etc. Why are they freaking out? Because if you forget, is that with Vegas and with other cities, the gimmick that they have rolling on, it's like, oh, big cities, pay us to hold our venue there, and they literally run the shows basically for free because the city will pay them X amount of dollars, usually millions
yeah,
of dollars, to have
fucked that
a
up
big
too.
event. And I'm pretty sure there's something in those contracts where if they don't meet certain thresholds, then they either don't get as much money, or obviously it would affect them getting such deals in the future. But it does affect them, so
Well,
they're freaking out.
They
It's
fucked that
because
up on top of that because they institute a local blackout and the city is pissed.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's
They're
another
so
thing. Like they
mad.
won't even let what Brad is talking about local blackout. If you don't know, it's like basically to get people to come to their show. It's like, okay, what if I'm in Vegas and I'm not going to WrestleMania, but
I want to come for
I
the
like wrestling
indie
enough.
shows. Yeah.
Yeah, or yeah, I'm gonna go to the indie shows or all the other things. But it's like I still maybe want to watch media, so I'll go to like a local bar that might have it on, sports bar, or at the casino or something. They basically put a blackout out where it's like no, like they're forcing establishments. You cannot. We're forbidding you from actually hosting like a watch party. And it's like, look, I don't know about your guys, but I live in the DC metro area. There's tons of sports bars, whatever. When it's like a UFC event, like they'll host it, and it's like you can go, maybe have a cover, maybe you don't.
It's usually
You can
like
go.
It's usually like a 2-drink minimum or something like that, or you have to
It's
buy
not.
some
It's
food.
modest. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't do it. I mean, I have two small kids, so I'm not just like let me. Especially because it's like I'm not going to be out till like 1, 2 in the morning. But by the time
Yeah.
UFC finishes, go to a bar. But point is, WWE's freaking out because I'm sure that they have. Vegas was like, yeah, we'll pay you X amount, but you need to bring a certain threshold of people in. It's not happening. So I think they're freaking out because of that, and I can fully believe that.
Well, and I think too, though, I think they're on top of that. I think not selling out like SummerSlam is bad or whatever, but there is like a stigma attached to not selling out WrestleMania, and I think that is the one where you have to answer to everyone above you, like why did WrestleMania not sell out? Like because like that's my thing with it. They did price it too high, but to me it's like you're in bad shape if you can't sell out Mania.
Mhm.
One other thing where you guys were talking about the site fees is also that they screwed New Orleans, which
Oh
is where
yeah.
this Mania was supposed to be. So they screwed them, and they backed out. I don't know how they got out of the contract, but they screwed them. Like, oh, we'll give you something else later, and it's like So basically, what you're expecting is for cities to pay this big site fee that you may or may not honor.
Which is
Great
ridiculous.
job.
And we know Mania is not going to be in New Orleans next year because they're going to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so if it's a Mania, it would be 2028 at the earliest.
Mhm.
But I mean, there's many factors I think that are going in to. I mean, Meltzer gave all sorts of rational reasonings, but another big one is like people have noted and criticized, and this kind of goes into like the Cody discussion, which we'll get into. But it's that this Mania, we're how many weeks away? Like it's like soon,
It's within a it's
Yeah.
probably within a
like a
month.
like
Like a month or something.
like a month out, and people are like, "What's the card?" Because up until like a week or so ago, there was, or maybe still now, there was like 3 or 4 matches in for a 2 night show, and some things happen with Raw where it's like, okay, I can see where they probably do maybe a couple more. That's probably going to be a couple matches, but
Yeah, but back in the
and
day though,
there's rumors that I saw on social media. People are like, oh, we're planning to have like a 7, 8 match card both nights. It's like, oh, are you? Because you've been
Uh
doing like
huh.
3, 4 match pay-per-views, premium live events for
yeah.
like the
Yeah.
last year or so. But people, they don't have like a card, and the card that is being presented so far, people are like, eh. And it's all situation. They're even saying like some people, they don't, oh, we don't know what they're doing for Mania. It's like you're a month out, and they're like, we
Yeah.
don't know what the plan is for Gunther at Mania. It's like,
Well,
hold up.
you have
So in
expectations
literally
too.
the last calendar year, you had Gunther retire three wrestling legends, and here it is like, I don't know what we're gonna do with him at Mania in a month's time. It's
That's
like,
why that's why I didn't put
are
much
you kidding
stock in
me?
him beating Cena. But the other thing is too, I think that affects that is fans are used to like they're used to like a flow to the year. And it's been broken the last couple years, but fans of theirs typically expect, okay, you come out of that Christmas, New Year's break, and you start building to Mania. It's about building to Mania, building to Mania, building to Mania. And they really haven't done that. They've just kind of slapped it together like any pay per view. Whereas people expect, like, okay, January 1st, whatever Mania is like a season with things happening. And it really hasn't been that way for a long time. And I think
Yeah.
that hurts your hype when you're not getting that, like, that
January's
burn.
supposed to be your build up
Yeah.
to what's going to happen at Mania. And one of the things I heard bandied about, and I don't know how much stock I put in it, but it sure seems like the pieces fit together, is that originally they wanted to have Cody Roman again, and neither one of them wanted to lose to each other. So then all of a sudden they're like, oh no, what are we going to do when these two
Well,
guys who we had main event like back to back years don't want to work with each other? And they started scrambling. And I'm like,
well, and it also they teased it at Survivor Series and it went over like a wet fart. I think that's mostly why it fell apart because they teased it and the crowd didn't care.
yeah,
And it kind of and online was
well,
kind of like the
So the idea of, if we follow the train of logic that the idea of Roman Cody 3 fell apart, then the idea of hot shotting that title over to Drew in a finish to a cage match that made no sense whatsoever, and then hot shotting that title back to Cody on a random SmackDown because we were gonna do something different, and oh, now we can't do that, so now we're gonna take Drew out of this and we're gonna put Cody back into it, and that's going over just terrifically. It's like, what do you guys, honest to God, what are we expecting?
Well, they
I
devalued
am a.
they
Go ahead.
I'd actually been very complimentary the last couple years. One of the few things I complimented them on was they had done a pretty good job of like protecting the value of like the the main title, which they devalued the main title with that Drew reign, honestly. Immensely devalued it.
It's basically the here damn like title reign.
Yeah.
It. I mean, I look. I'm the resident Cody Rhodes hater. Like I don't like Cody Rhodes, so people being pissed off at him. I would like to think, and certainly on some social media, people are like now getting clued in to what I believe, and that he's just a disingenuous fuck, where he's just glad handing, and he's oh shucks, like let me cry talking about my father for like the millionth time. And oh my gosh, this title reign means so much. It's like people are kind of over that. I think they're just kind of
It's
they see through Cody. I
and
would hope,
it's
but
he doesn't evolve. That's I think what he ran into in AEW.
he doesn't evolve.
And
He doesn't evolve.
he doesn't
But I
he doesn't so because he does have like creative input. He doesn't have like long-term vision for things. Like a good example is never challenging for the title in AEW again.
Yeah.
That is still one of the dumbest things they've done as a company. And then he's like shocked Pikachu face when it's like a year and a half later and he has nothing to do because he locked himself out from the top.
So when it comes to Cody Rhodes, I got two thoughts. Number one, he's kind of like a loaf of Wonder Bread that sits on the table for too long. It's white with blonde on the top of it, and it sits there and gets stale because it. What is it really good for? Is it's good for being the bread for a sandwich of the stuff you actually want to eat. Um, Two, if I'm gonna just for the sake of argument, if I'm gonna give Cody credit for anything, I would say that it may be that he has good instincts for stuff in the moment. But the problem is that if he is constantly doing like in the moment stuff, then yes, it is disingenuous because he changes it from moment to moment. Like you remember the after the Cena retirement, that picture they took
Oh yeah,
of
yeah,
him
yeah.
at ringside. Now look, if he didn't have a history of doing that sort of stuff, that would have skated. It wouldn't have been a big deal. It would have been like, I mean, okay, yeah, that's staged, but fair enough, okay. But since he keeps doing that stuff over and over again and never takes a break from it, then it's just like, God, okay, we're doing this
You know
again.
what a good analog of it
picture-
is? A good analog is, and it's actually hurt him with people. But The Rock and he's had In-N-Out Burger for the first time ever, like 6 different times on social
Oh
media.
yeah.
Like it's like that,
Yeah.
and that has hurt The Rock because,
Everyone's got screenshots.
Yeah.
What are
I
you gonna
think
say, Matt?
I was gonna say like that Cody picture like really annoyed me because it's like the meme of you see the guy looking at himself in the mirror going like you get in there and you make it about yourself, and it's
Yeah.
like that's exactly what that was. It's like
Yeah.
Cena's retiring like end of his career, and it's like go carefully pose Cody looking sad at ringside. It's like
With the
come on,
belt
dude.
right next to it.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
about you. I will say this, like I don't like Cody, so I like seeing people turn on Cody online, which is interesting because it's like the people, social media, people online are usually like some of the most diehard WWE fans. So seeing some of them turn on him is, to me, interesting. But I think the reason why, like in the moment, he's getting booed, it may be some of that, but I also think that there's a lot of people who do feel he's stale, who don't feel he changes, but they also kind of see what happened. Like they may not know, like, oh, it's supposed to be a Cody Roman 3, and there's a political power play, because neither one wanted a job, whatever. But people see, like, he feuded with Drew for the better part of like last 6 months, eight
Since he
months,
beat
9 months, a
Cena, I
long
would
time.
say. Since he beat.
Yeah, he was feuding with Drew like way too long.
And
And
didn't
so then
only lost to
he,
him once, really.
yeah, he loses he loses the title in that bad cage match. And then it's like
Drew
One
does
of the worst
fuck all.
finishes I've ever seen.
Drew does
Yeah,
fuck
he has
all.
like
Immediately goes into like, oh, I'm just gonna disappear because they don't have anything to do with me until I lose it again. So I'm just gonna go.
yeah. But then Cody did some sort of contract stipulation where it's like, oh, if I lose, I can't challenge for the title again. And so he lost. And then he goes like, well, you know, he got in the elimination chamber. And he doesn't win. Randy Orton wins. So it's like, okay, well, I guess it's going to be Randy Orton versus Drew for the title, because
And
like
a lot
can't
of
be Cody.
people.
And then all of a sudden,
Well, I was gonna say too. The other thing is
like,
people. There are people who are like, well, I'm not thrilled with Randy Orton winning the Elimination Chamber, but at least it's something different. So you had a large segment of your audience going, well, at least this is different. So I'm gonna be forgiving.
It's different, but it's also what they did how many years ago?
4 though.
yeah,
But like a lot of
4 years
but in fairness, in fairness though, a lot of a lot of this audience was not watching then, so it is new to them.
but so you had all that, okay, and then after all that, Nick Aldis is like, Cody versus Drew for the title this Friday on SmackDown, and then Cody wins it. People, I think, are justifiably like, what is this bullshit? Like, he said, oh no, he's out of the title picture, you know, loses at Elimination Chamber, like, you know, he's done, and then it's like all of a sudden he just gets handed a title shot that he wins.
Wait, you mean the things that people used to get pissed off with Roman about?
Yeah,
They didn't
it's like
see
it's
that
such bullshit booking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That it's not even like a smart conveyed way that he got the title shot and wins it. It's like so transparently like, well, this is what they wanted to do. They wanted Cody to be, you know, in the main event, you know, with the title, and Randy Orton challenging him.
I think they
You know,
could have.
it's kind of transparent bullshit that people,
Yeah.
like, even their fans who are not savvy wrestling fans or even wrestling fans, like, it's a little almost like a bridge too far, where it's like, okay,
And think you're a nerd.
that's
if
on
you
top
talk
of them probably
about
like they're
continuity.
tired of Cody.
Yeah.
They're tired of Cody.
Well, I think you could have. I think you could have done some things to like prevent this, but they haven't been creative for a long time, and they've just been like running with the same shit. Because like I think this was a good chance, and he wouldn't have done it because I don't know. That's a weird thing he and Punk have going on, but like I think a great way to have handled this match is just do something where like he's throwing everything he can at Drew, and he can't beat Drew, and he just freaks out and like KOs him with a chair and turns heel, and then you do face Randy versus heel Cody. I think the crowd. I think people would have been like kind of like Cody again, but I'd be like, well, at least he's a heel, so it's kind of different.
Yeah. Could have been.
He won't. He won't do
But
that.
he won't do it.
No.
He won't do it. He probably doesn't want to do it, but Meltzer is like, they're not going to do it because he makes too much in merch sales.
Heels make money,
and if you
too,
turn
though.
heel,
That's an antiquated way of thinking, I think.
yeah, probably.
And if they
But I
get
mean, look.
tired of him, if people turn on him, he's not going to be selling merch either.
Well, that's true. Look, people are really upset about the Cody stuff, and justifiably. But it's not as if on the flip side, like Punk Roman is really doing a lot. People have liked their promo battle between each other. Like they've liked their segments.
They've
the
liked
last,
well,
2-3
no, they've
weeks.
liked the Roman parts of the promo battles.
Oh, that's true.
Punk got clowned on for a solid week and a half for his.
He's still getting clowned on.
I don't
because
hold
in
grudges thing.
Well, but he also
Like
people have
Meltzer literally
noticed.
said he laughed out loud when he said that.
Yeah, Brian Alvarez is like all this guy does is hold
Yeah.
grudges. The other thing is that he people have noticed this with his promos, and it's true. It's like he'll make references, either old school like wrestling references, which again this crowd doesn't
Yeah.
know or care,
No.
or he'll make like weird veiled. It's kind of gotten out of the AEW stuff. He'll make weird.
I think
Sometimes he'll make weird stuff like
I think they told
weird
him
references to things like that,
I
and
think they
people
told
don't
him
get
to
that either because
stop
they don't
doing
watch anything but
yeah.
WWE.
I think they
Yeah,
told him to
because
stop doing that because it went over terribly every time. Because he and Cody did one. The crowd's like, "What are you talking about?" It's like, yeah, your crowd doesn't watch AEW, so they don't know.
yeah,
It's also that it seems like that everything that he's been doing since he came back has been a callback.
It
Like
has.
everything that's been successful has been a callback, which means that we don't have any original thought. Everything is, hey, remember that thing?
Remember when he came out
And it's
dressed
like,
like rapper Cena and it did like something that was like was meant to be cringe at the time, like it was funny and it was
WCW
it's
1999.
yeah, that's what this all seems like. Is it's all it's all member berries and like moment to moment booking because they're not, if they have plans they throw them out or they're not making plans. Everything is moment to moment, and there's not a long term plan behind it. And so what was that? That was the Kevin Sullivan, Vince Russo running WCW in 1999 thing, and it
Look,
was awful because there was no point in getting excited at anything because they were just going to kill it.
yeah.
look, I would make the argument that Punk and Roman is their biggest match for Mania, and it's the one that probably has the most interest or
That
should
they
have the
ran
most
last
interest.
year.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the most. It's just the two of them face to face against each other is probably like the best match you could do.
I guess my
And it's
overly
done nothing. It's done nothing because that got announced, and it's not as this again. It's not as if we already have like 20 matches announced, and it's like this put it over the top. There's not a lot of matches
there's
announced for Mania, so this is like the big marquee match, and I think it moved less than like 1,000 tickets,
it
and
moved,
and again,
I
they
think it
haven't been
moved like
selling.
600, but there's no
Yeah,
drama to it though because like let's say you're more of a casual fan. I like
Mm-hmm.
even one that's like not as tuned in. Like I would not think even like a casual fan would see CM Punk on the same level of Roman Reigns. So you're just going to expect Reigns to beat him, and then if
mm.
Punk wins, it's such a disparity in their star power. You're going to be disappointed because it's not what you want.
Look,
Oh, I'm hoping that Roman beats him.
No, Roman's going to beat him.
this may just be the hater in me, and if it's the hater in me, that's fine. But the thing that gets me is, okay, I will fully admit I don't watch WWE TV stuff. I don't want to. I don't care. Not anymore. But the clips that people have sent me, and it's like, oh, look at the end of the Braun Breaker CM Punk match, made Punk look like shit. And how am I supposed to be excited about the guy who can barely do his finish at the end of a match going up against someone who was presented as the most biggest thing ever? What am I supposed to be excited about?
He's always
Like,
blown.
if I watch the show, what am I supposed to be excited about?
If I see a Punk clip, he's always like blown up. It always looks like shit. And then people are like, "Oh my god, this is so good." It's like, do you have eyes?
It is. I don't.
I mean, now there's a couple that weren't his fault, like the match with Jey Uso, where like Jey Uso couldn't even take a neck breaker properly.
Oh yeah, no, that's absolutely on Jey Uso.
Except Punk
Just
tried to do the move again, which is a cardinal sin.
yeah, that was okay. Look, it's just, we've said it before. We'll say it again. Jey Uso is just dog water in the ring,
Yeah, or the
and
Or the table spot with, I think, Bronson and Braun, where like he literally couldn't get his ass off the ground to like do his part of the table spot.
Yeah. So it's like, well, let's not act like that match was gonna suck with the two of them having it.
Yeah.
And there are some people who are gonna say that you're being a hater. It's like, yeah, you know what? Sure, fine, probably.
I wouldn't like I don't I mean, Gunther could barely get watchable stuff out of him, and Punk's not that level of worker. And if the guy screws up, like he screwed up a neck breaker, like that, I think like even a casual fan could like intuitively take,
Yeah,
and
you
he
just
screwed that up.
God.
And I have
I
to say, like, if that happened to me on TV, like I would say Punk probably gets a tiny bit of credit for not just like jumping on top of him and socking him in the face a couple times.
Oh, he was very clearly pissed about it.
Oh, I would be too.
And
Like,
I would be livid about that. It's like, dude, what in the hell?
it's like, how have you've done this how long and you can't do? Yeah, I mean, he was right.
Hey, how is it that I'm like, hey, we're gonna do a neck breaker spot, and I go to turn you into it, and you just keep turning, like
Yeah,
that? If we didn't have a history of him just being awful, then I would be of the opinion that he did that intentionally to screw with him.
yeah. And I was thinking, like, I was trying to think of like ways that Cody could have like prevented this if he had better long term thinking. And I was the what I came up with was you should have just had him bring Starks up and like done a tag team with him, and then had Starks turn on you eventually. Like that probably would have saved you this headache because you would have been away from the title scene. It's like why I'll use a great example because Randy Orton's a perfect example. When people were like, "Well, Randy Orton's gotten better," and I was like, "Yeah, he's kind of gotten better," but the problem is I don't. If Randy Orton's doing something like I kind of enjoy, I don't trust it because they're always looking to weasel him back into the title picture. So I can't enjoy anything he does because they're going to push him back up the card to a point where I don't want him. And they always do. And I think that's kind of a problem Cody might run into. But I think like a solid 9 months away from like the title picture, or even doing like a 6 month tag team with Ricky Starks. He turns on you, maybe injures you. You take 3 months off after that. You come back to do like your blow off with Starks, then you can go back up to the main event. And you've
Yeah.
like that's a solid year you were out of like the main event and let you freshen up a bit.
Yeah, okay, if we're theory crafting on this, if it were me, um, then my move would have been if Cody absolutely wants to stay on TV and that sort of stuff, then you set it up so that Cody is injured, but he's still around, and he's backing and mentoring someone on the way up because they're not good at lifting people up the card. Use Cody to do that, but Cody doesn't get involved because I don't know, his arm's in a sling or something. And then when Cody's announcing I'm getting ready to make my return, the guy jumps him because it's like, oh no, now you're going to take my spotlight. I'm going to put you out to pasture. And you have this ready-made feud that you had built up over a period of time, and it could potentially have some heat to it, and you could have a big interesting match, and it doesn't damage anybody's credibility because what's the story? Cody's the vet who's mentoring someone, and this person is an ungrateful little twerp who turned on him.
Yeah, do the MJF angle in AEW again. Do it with like Ricky Starks or something.
Okay, you're
Like-
right. You're
like,
right.
just
Oh
have
my
someone
God, how
that's
did I
like
not?
Just do something and I think Ricky would be a good person for this because he's unknown. He's
Are we
down the
sure?
card. Well, don't have him
Are we
sing.
sure about that?
But you have them be like they're kind of just a jerk, but they like Cody and they are a true friend to him, and then they eventually turn on him. Like I think you could do, but like I think that would save him because I think it is a Cody problem, but I also think it's they're starting to lash out because the top of the card is well all the shows are like from top to bottom the shows are stale, but I think it's also as much lashing out as Cody as dear God, can you do something different? Like please.
Hmm.
And the other thing is, I think like turning heel on Drew would have at least not totally killed Drew, because like you might as well just release Drew now, because like he just had a bad title reign that devalued the title. So he's essentially been completely buried.
Mhm.
They gave him a win in the worst way possible.
When he had no heat.
Yeah. Okay, so you're having a cage match, but WWE is incapable of having a cage match where the cage means anything. And then Jacob Fatu runs in, beats up both of them, but Drew's the one that happens to crawl out the door.
Yeah.
Ooh,
And
what a win.
I don't know.
And then he has a reign where he doesn't really get to, he's not given anything to do.
Yeah, because
So
I think that's the worst part, is because when you do that with a new champion, especially someone that you don't see as like worthy of the title, like Drew has been made to look, you, even as a casual fan, you go, oh, he's just waiting around until he gets beat. Is like what even a casual fan knows. You just know it intuitively. And so that makes it even harder on that champion, because now you're just like, oh, I'm not supposed to take this seriously.
it's frankly,
I don't know why they didn't stick with the Cody Drew Fatu thing that was initially rumored, because it still involved Cody, but I was kind of was looking at that like, oh, that could be interesting. Like Fatu's new and he's good, and like there's some new dynamics there, and now it's just Randy and Cody.
Yeah, if it was that three-way feud, and you turn, and the story ends up being about which one of them can turn Fatu on the other one, and take advantage of it. Okay, we could have something there, but getting that.
Yeah,
I say
I have
we.
to.
Go ahead, Matt.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
I had to assume it's because Cody didn't want to do it. Like Cody just wants, to go over Randy. It's a guy he's known for many, many years. They're good friends, so
well, he wanted to lose the title right after. He wanted to lose the title right after he won it off of Cena too. I don't remember who he wanted to lose it to though. It might have been Drew. He wanted to do this whole lose it and win it back thing, which at the time I said you shouldn't do that, because, again, I was complimentary and said they protected the title very well, and it has value, and doing like a switch off devalues it a bit, and it's going to wear people out because you're getting another title reign.
Drew had what, like a 3-month or a 3-week reign or something?
He went from like the 1st of January. He had like a 2-month reign.
2 months. Okay.
I bet about 9 weeks if I had to estimate.
Yes, that 3 weeks to 9 weeks is a big difference, but it's also not a big difference, because you give someone a world title reign that's 2 months and you don't give them anything to do during it.
Yeah, you're just a placeholder.
Yeah, and it's not even a transitional thing. Like giving someone a thank you reign and to have them transition the title to someone else, cool. Okay, I get it. Like that's something that you can do to reward someone who's been a good person to have around and worked hard, and then you can be like, yeah, you're going to get a short reign, and then we're going to use you to put it on over here. And that way you don't devalue either of the bookend people around it. Sure. But what happened? Drew got it from Cody and then lost it back to him.
Yep.
It accomplishes nothing.
He
You're
didn't even
exactly
get
back where you started.
And he didn't get like a memorable feud in between.
No.
It's
like get anything.
It's like back in the day. I'll use Goldberg as a good example. His first world title reign, where it didn't get over because he could not get away from Triple H for his entire reign.
You're going with his WWE reign. Okay.
Yeah.
I needed to say, because I was thinking his first title defense was against Al Green on Thunder.
No,
it was on
that,
Nitro.
But
it's
like,
like, what the hell are we doing here?
But like that one was like people kind of wanted to see Goldberg versus Kane, and then he just cannot get away from Triple H in any way, shape, or form. And that was a problem during like the Reign of Terror. Was even if someone like won the title off of him, they could never truly get away from him, and then they just would not get over. And then they're like, "Well, he didn't get over, so we just need to give it back to Triple H." It's like, yes, because Triple H is the problem.
Not even getting the title off of him, just getting wins over him. Because what happened with Shelton Benjamin, like that should have been a springboard for the guy, but they made sure to kill that deader than hell. Like
I I still
that,
think I still think Sean did more to put him over by beating him than anything Triple H did, because that image of him doing the springboard right into the sweet chin music is still cool as hell.
Yeah.
it's funny. Shelton Benjamin says that particular spot, he's like, it looks like it killed you, and he goes, "No, man, it's easy as hell. It just looked fantastic." And I'm like, dude, the body control to pull that off is amazing.
Sean looks like Sean looks like if you were working with him, the problem is him being a jackass because he's drugged out. Like, I don't think him hurting you would ever be a problem because he seems like he has a pretty light touch.
uh,
I-
yeah.
Well, the Rockers did get like sued because he did like get horribly injure that one guy.
That was Janetti.
Oh, it was Janetti.
That was
So I was
that
gonna
was a rocker dropper, and he turned the wrong way and it
Yeah.
broke his neck.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, outside of that incident, like, I don't think I've heard a story where it's like Shawn Michaels injured a guy or hurt a guy or anything, like, even like accidentally. Like, he seemed, pretty safe in that regard.
Yeah. Yeah, because like Brett was the same way. Kamala was the same way. Like, I don't think anyone's ever. I think people more complained about him, like, personally, or him not being willing to job or like doing shit in the match, but never like oh, he was reckless and hurt me. But that's a good segue because he is involved in tonight's show. So this is Bryan Danielson month. Every show this month is going to be about Bryan Danielson. So I dug up. I would say it's within his first year or two, but this is the Texas Wrestling Alliance, which if you were online in like the late 90s, you kind of heard of at the time. It was kind of like, I wouldn't say it was like a darling indie. It was just one you heard results of from time to time, especially because Shawn Michaels wrestled there. So this is like, I don't know if this is like a VHS they sold or if this was like an episode of TV, but so essentially this is the Best of American Dragon and TWA.
Yeah, I think the title on YouTube says like VHS. So whether it was
an
actual
VHS rip. So
yeah.
I don't know if it was a tape or if they just got it off of like they bought, because it used to be back in the day. We're gonna really age ourselves here. So a lot of those promotions you could like sign up for, and they would send you VHS tapes of their TV for like a fee.
Yeah.
So this is run by. I looked up some info on this. The results actually weren't out there very much, but this was founded by Jose Lothario and Shawn Michaels. It's still nominally kind of around in a different form with Rudy Boy still running it. So what I would say this promotion is most known for, we're going to see here, it's most known for being run by Shawn Michaels and producing Spanky and the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson.
Mm-hmm. There was a couple other people.
I think like Joey Abs might have come out of there. Oh, Lance Cade.
Lance Cade. Yeah.
And Shooter Schultz is kind of like a name you might remember if you played like Extreme Warfare or whatever back in the day.
The name did like was kind of familiar a little bit. I guess also Paul London allegedly.
Oh yeah. And now he does show up and he's not very good, but so their champion on one of these was Venom, and I just happened to see him like when I was looking at results, and I clicked on it, it's like, and it is one Mr. Paul Diamond is Venom.
Oh, okay.
Because I was wondering, because he kept talking about like their previous like relationship, then when I saw it was Paul Diamond, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Okay.
I feel like at some point in my life I heard that he had like switched gimmicks, but I didn't remember it. I remember
it was Max Moon.
Yes, but I remember who is it, Wolfie D became like Slash in like
Hmm.
TNA or something like that. He
Yeah.
did like this like satanic gimmick, but he looked way different because he was like bald and like actually got like in shape, like
Yeah.
ripped. So he didn't look remotely like Wolfie D anymore. But I
Underrated.
feel like I'd
Underrated
heard
talent.
the Venom thing. Wolfie D, yeah,
Yeah.
he was actually pretty good.
So so this is just some of his best matches now. Just to get into this, none of these are like super amazing. This is a TV promotion, so these are
Mhm.
TV matches. Actually, you can tell it's Bryan Danielson by the way he talks, his body. If you see his face in the mask, but he doesn't wrestle like Bryan Danielson. What I think is very interesting about these matches and what really stood out to me is like, oh, he's wrestling like like a late '90s WCW cruiserweight, like very much like a WCW cruiserweight in this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's not like ultra high flying or anything like that, but he doesn't do a lot of like the technical stuff that he would soon do, that
Yeah,
you would see him do in Ring of Honor and other places. Uh, but it these were all very interesting, like the whole everything. And you're right, it is like a TV promotion, so not of the hour of like content. I think let me see, there's 9 matches, of which they were
that's like two
5 minutes
PLEs for
long.
WWE now.
Yeah. Uh, but then all the matches are like 5 minutes, like
I
at
think that
most.
I think
Two and a quarter.
the gimmick's
Yeah.
interesting too because he has a mask on. That's one thing that might
Yeah.
surprise you, but he has a mask on.
And
And
they don't refer to him as Bryan Danielson. They
no,
don't say his name. It's
Nope.
just he's American Dragon.
because so what the gimmick is, and Shawn Michaels doing color on this. He's inoffensive. I actually think he does a really good job of like getting the American Dragon gimmick over. So what the idea is
He's
he
okay. He's okay as a commentator. He's not
he is
offensive, but
he
he
is
doesn't add a
decidedly
ton,
like right there. Like you said, getting certain people over as part of the match for backstory, he does good with.
he shuts up.
Calling the actual stuff, it's like, oh wow, that was at best incredibly bland.
I think, but there's some stuff he does though. Like I liked one where it was him and Spanky and Sean's like, yeah, they're gonna be doing some moves we're not even gonna know the names of for this, and it's kind of a little snarky, but it's also like, oh yeah, these guys are so good, they're gonna be pulling out shit I've never seen before. Is that kind of like what he was going for? But he also shuts up. Both of them, like that Joe Vargas guy, and him. There's points where they just don't talk, and I was like, oh, I miss when wrestling used to like have pauses, and they didn't need to talk all the time. But so anyway, the gimmick is he pretty much studied in all these dojos in Japan, and he came back. So that's kind of like the story.
yeah.
I remember hearing about this because the gimmick was that when Danielson started training, he was so impressed with how well that he worked. He was like, I can't just throw you out there as a rookie. Like I have to do something else with you. And it makes sense. Like it's an effort at building instant credibility as to why you should take this guy that you haven't seen before or have not seen much seriously. And
He,
honestly, I think it's pretty clever.
he's stupidly good in this. Like he's not as good as he was, and you can tell he's like green, but like his execution of moves is really good. And like there's what I really like is his dragon suplex thing he does, like the snap he puts on that, and I'm like, oh, like a rookie would not necessarily know to do that. And his he doesn't do the diving headbutt here, but he does the Randy Savage elbow drop, which I popped for every time he did it.
Yeah.
And
It was a really good top rope elbow. I'm sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
How far into his career was he?
This would have been probably between it'd be in the first 2 years, probably.
I mean, he's exceptionally very good in for the level of experience that he had. And again, in some respects it's hard to gauge because again, everything here is short. But there's some flashes here that it's like you could tell. If you're just going like, well, he's got the fundamentals down. It's like no. He shows flashes that it's like, oh, you're good.
It's like when
Like
you
you're actually
watch
really
if you watch like really young Sean Waltman and you're just like, oh, this guy just got it.
yeah.
But yeah, he's really good. His promos are actually I was surprised his promos were competent, and I think that's where young guys really can screw the pooch. But it was like, oh,
Mhm.
they're not amazing, but it's like he gets the point across, and he doesn't like
They're
flub
solid.
his lines. Yeah,
Yeah.
They're solid. That's the thing. It's my favorite example of what young guys screwing up promos. Yep, probably the hardest match I ever had. Yeah, it's and Danielson doesn't pause. He doesn't stop to breathe in the middle of lines. He delivers everything with a confidence. And sure, these are like 20, 30 seconds, and they're separated by the uh, early 2000s, Adobe Premiere fire explosion effect between them
yeah.
every time. Like they didn't want to use it's like, what about using a fade or a wipe? And they're like, no, more fire every time.
There,
But he delivers it with a confidence that that confidence makes you believe it.
yeah. Because like the delivery does matter. Bad promos. It reminds me of Jeff Farmer, but there was some con that footage came out from, and like you could like cut a promo with like Scott Steiner or something. And there was some outtake where this guy said something about like STDs or something, and Scott Steiner just like on a dime was like, "Dude, you've got STDs," and that like that inquisitive Scott Steiner voice. But yeah, his promos are pretty good. I think he plays his gimmick of being like a Japanese junior pretty well. And there's some cool stuff he does we'll get to, but like that one where he dove over the guardrail to hit Rudy Boy, I thought was cool as shit.
Oh yeah, that was an amazing. I mean, he just climbs up there and just sailed for it. And I saw that and I wound it back. I'm like, did I see that right? Did he like dive on Rudy Boy and they go over the barricade? No, he cleared the barricade with that jump.
Yeah.
Ah,
So
the confidence of youth.
so big. This kind of actually does, I'd say, track with what he did. So it's kind of his quest for the TV title, and then morphs into him and Spanky having a side issue with different guys. So first
Yeah.
match is him challenging for the TV title against Rudy Boy Gonzalez. Rudy Boy's older here; he's like in his 40s. He's not like a
Yeah, he
spectacular worker, but you can tell he's like, well, he's also his trainer, so he's working
yeah.
with his trainer here.
He's not he's not bad. I mean, I haven't seen like a lot of Rudy Boy Gonzalez. I've heard of him. I mean, and he's at this point over a decade in his career because he started I think like in the 80s. And I looked him up. Like he's. I mean, Shawn Michaels has been billed forever for that from like San Antonio. I think he did live there. Uh, and this was, I think, what was this in was the Texas Wrestling Alliance like in San Antonio?
Yeah, because he popped
Yeah,
up.
because
His
Rudy
super
Boy is
early
from San
career
Antonio.
is where was his super early career? It was he's in Southwest when you see him real early, but I don't remember where that's from. It might have been in San Antonio. It was around there. It wasn't like where the Funks were from, but yeah, he is, I think, legitimately from San Antonio.
Yeah, and
What
Rudy
you
Boy
can
is
hear
from
if he
yeah.
lets it go a little too much, you hear the Texan come out in him sometimes.
I know a lot about San Antonio because my wife is from there. Been there many times, and I will be there in like 3 weeks. I'll be in San Antonio for spring break. As people from San Antonio, that's the part of Texas like you don't really have much of an accent. Like my wife doesn't have an accent, or at least what you would think is like the Texas accent. You only got to go to like more northern Texas,
Was
like
that
Dallas and all
like
that.
if you go to Austin, which I've been to a couple times, there's so many transplants there, you don't hear the Texas accent
I
much.
don't. So I mean, I say this as someone who's like born and raised in the East Coast. Like I like San Antonio because like it's it's actually Texan. Like, and you go to different places in Texas, it's more like what you would think more stereotypically Texas, like the Cowboys and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
Austin, like I don't like Austin because it's like you talk to any like, especially like East Coast, like left leaning people say, "Oh, I love Austin." It's like you like the place in Texas that's the least like Texas. Like it
Yeah,
might as well be, you know, like an East Coast city that just has like tacos.
yeah.
It's
I
I'm not that big of a
I
fan of Austin.
I did have a deceased family member from Texas, and he was hilarious because he had lived in Ohio for a while, so like his accent wasn't like huge, but like if you went to a
Mhm.
restaurant or like a cute girl came up, that he would crank that accent up to like 12 because it was part of like his charm. I'm like, oh, I see
Mhm.
what you're doing. But like if he
Yeah.
was being nice or something, like the Texan would like get cranked right up. I'm like, oh, okay.
Hmm.
Yes, this is from San Antonio. It's very much if you've seen indie wrestling or smaller budget wrestling from like if you've seen NWA Wildside, it looks a lot like that production wise. Like it's
Yeah.
obviously like a lower level production. They do pretty good. Like I think the camera shots are pretty good. Like I kind of wanted to see what was out there of this on like VHS or like what people still had of the TV because I was like watching like damn, if this was like if this had been on in like my market, I would have watched this every week.
Oh, I would have totally watched this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably would have, yeah.
And
Cuz
I
like
would have much like with the USWA, like there's a lot of stuff. It's like I would love to watch like a long form match,
yeah.
of these guys. And I mean, it's not as if we haven't seen American Dragon or Spanky in longer matches, but maybe I want to see like them have like more than just the 3-4 minute match. You know,
And and what an era that Spanky wasn't getting booed for coming out to Christina Aguilera too.
Hmm.
Which
Yeah.
I actually thought like when I heard the music like, "Oh, that's actually really good music for him." I wonder if he came out to that Ring of Honor. I don't remember anymore.
That first Ring of Honor show he did.
Okay. Okay.
Now, amusingly, I was on a show that I was on, God, 2011, 2012, something like that. There were a pair of guys that were tag champs for their company, and they made it a point to just come out to a different boy band song all the time. And it's they were in shape, but they weren't like ripped. But they'd come through the curtain, and they had like it was standard gear: boots, trunks, pads, robes. But they'd come through the door and just like bye bye bye, and people loved it.
That's
Like they
hilarious.
they started doing it thinking that it would be heat and it would piss people off, and people loved it.
That's hilarious. But so the one with Rudy Boy is kind of just your standard TV match. Rudy wins. But Danielson shows some good stuff here, I think. And Rudy Boy is obviously like a seasoned veteran. You can just kind of tell by the way he wrestles.
He he has that big fat boy physique, but he moves. Like he can
Yeah,
It really does.
he was pretty spry.
yeah.
Yeah,
And then so
100%.
then we go to the next one, and this is so he lost this match, and now the next one is between him and Spanky for a number one contenders spot for the TV title. And this is the match where he does that big dive on Rudy Boy, but I actually thought this was pretty good. Like obviously, like Rudy Boy's pretty good, but like when you get to some of the later talent, like Spanky and Danielson are obviously like
Hmm.
several steps above.
Oh
Because he,
yeah, it's so interesting to watching the video that we watched, because it's not everything. It's just the stuff that's involving Danielson. Um, it is so interesting to see just raw talent, how far beyond he is up against, well, not Brian Kendrick, but everybody else. Just it's kind of like nothing against Rudy Boy. Like the dude's solid. He knows what he's doing. He's got skills. But in terms of just raw talent, it is the difference is unreal.
he doesn't have the charisma factor. Like he doesn't. I think what separates them is even from Rudy Boy is they have the it factor. Like even Spanky has like that next level of charisma.
Hmm.
you care about what he's doing, like both of them. Like just them coming out, you're kind of just like, oh, I want to pay attention to what they're doing.
Yeah.
The Spanky really needed a better name.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he always did.
It was
But
kind of okay. Like when he went to Japan, he would go by Leonard Spanky, which I was like, that's better. Not much better, but it's better.
okay. I never could get past that name. It was always like,
Yeah,
come
I
on,
know.
seriously. That's what we're going with.
But they do a lot of cool stuff. There's a bunch of dives here. The announcers call this one pretty good. They don't do the Vince McMahon thing of, ooh, look at that. They kind of know the names to stuff.
Most of it.
Yeah. Spanky wins
But
because of so what happens, the end is pretty much he does that big dive on Rudy Boy, he's getting counted, and he tries to get back up to go in the ring, and Rudy Boy pretty much just pulls him back so Spanky gets the count out. But they had good chemistry. You could tell there were a lot of matches from them in the early years, and you can tell they trained together. I know that's weird to say that you can tell they trained together, but you can kind of tell sometimes.
yeah, they've got a really good chemistry between them. So
The same way you can tell Rudy Boy trained them. That's how you can tell they trained together. But I thought this was probably the best match on the show. By far.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Because then we get, what was the next one? Oh, in this one, Paul Diamond shows up as Venom, and he's not very good on commentary.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was enough. It was taking me out of the match because he's like, "Are you gonna tell him, Sean?" And Sean's like, "We're calling a match here, dude." He's like, "You ever gonna tell him?" And I'm like, "Dude, take the hint."
Yeah, Sean was really trying to get it back on. He wrestles Venom, like that's his comeback match. It's on the long list of things I want to eventually do on this show. But yeah. So what was the next one? Was it their rematch? Was the next one?
No, it was Dragon versus Shooter Schultz.
Oh yeah, Shooter Schultz, the most vanilla guy to ever vanilla. Because like Shooter Schultz came out, and I'm like, oh, I can see why you never went anywhere because you're boring.
He's a dude who
and bald,
wears trunks and wrestling shoes and does suplexes sometimes.
Because he's a shooter,
yeah.
Chad. He's Shooter Schultz. I didn't think it was bad. He was just kind of boring.
No, he was like the definition of a vanilla midget. Like he was cardboard. He was fine like as a worker. Like he could do the moves, but there was no personality or flair. Like I instantly like I remembered the name. I'm like, oh yeah, this is why I never hired him in any of those games because he's boring.
He on Cage Match he only has like 19 matches listed, and I understand like sometimes Cage Match doesn't capture everything. But
yeah, because you have to have people that
not a lot.
You have to have someone that have seen the show or recorded it somewhere for it to like show up on Cage Match.
Yeah, but he wasn't around long, and his career didn't last long. Like I think he was out by like 2001, 2002, something like that.
And there's a reason why, because he just
his gimmick was basically a guy.
His gimmick was trying to cover up. It was like, yes, I have no personality, but that's my gimmick. So now I'm golden.
I mean, credit for taking a shot at it, but
you can do no personality, but you have to have charisma and a personality to do no personality.
I mean, that was Lance Storm's gimmick in WCW, and he executed it beautifully. And then he goes to WWE, and they don't get what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So, then God, I was pissed on his behalf. I'm watching the show one night, and Steve Austin comes out calling Lance Storm boring and throws a pillow and the blanket down on stage saying he's going to take a nap because Lance Storm is boring. And I'm like, what are you doing? You literally told Steve Austin to go out there and tell everyone not to give a damn about him.
Yeah. WWE does that a lot, though.
Yeah. No.
This was fine. It existed.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah. It was interesting to see a name I'd like. I don't know if I'd ever seen him wrestle before, but a name I knew from like other stuff. It was very reminiscent of the era to see his name. I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely a name I remember. And then we go to the next one, and this is a rematch with Spanky. He obviously won the TV title in the interim. This one kind of goes between the. This kind of goes between the two parts of the video. Sadly, Bryan Danielson does not get the TV title in this
No.
or any of the matches. This one wasn't as good as the first one. They didn't get as much time, but I don't know. Maybe it's because I just seen them wrestle once before, but this one was it was fine, but it was just kind of there. I wasn't as like invested as the first one.
I think it is hurt by the length of time. I thought it was good. It was, but when it's as short as it is, it's like you can't get into the groove of it. But I thought it was perfectly fine for what it was.
Yeah.
Spanky, which by the way, if you, like Spanky is much smaller than he would become, and he was never like a big guy, but
No,
he's even smaller. He looks he looks like a $120, like soaking wet. Like he's really thin. And I like Danielson's forearms in this. I made a note because his forearm strikes were like really good and looked just like painful. He just like mashing a dude.
yeah.
Yeah.
This one
He laid those suckers in.
Yeah.
This one comes in and because Rudy Boy and I don't know what the fuck Bone Crusher was wearing. It's like a pink jumpsuit almost, or at least it looked pink on the.
It's almost like a prison.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's so that
Pink.
leads us to our next.
Wait. I think I know what that's a reference to. That might have been a reference to Sheriff Joe Arpaio in was it Arizona or New Mexico?
I think that might have predated that a little bit.
Because here's the thing. And I saw this bandied about because it was like they had to wear pink jumpsuits as an embarrassment tactic. Like that's what they were issued to wear. And I was thinking, that might have had something to do with it.
I guess if he broke him out of prison, I don't know. I tried to think about Bone Crusher as little as possible because that leads into our next match, which is American Dragon and Spanky versus Rudy Boy and Bone Crusher, who is not the worst wrestler I've ever seen, but he's on the list because
he's very bad.
Yeah.
And I looked him up. This is Crusher Hansen is like the name he usually goes by, and he's still active. He had matches in 2026, so
How
we
old
are
is he?
like, he's got to be probably like
He's got to be in his 50s,
late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: at this match came out in like what 2000. This was like what early
99 or
2000s.
2000.
He had been around probably because I looked him up. His career had started probably a good 5 years before this, and it's like you had 5 years of experience, and I get that it's like, what experience were you doing? I mean, there are some guys nowadays. It's like their experience maybe they do like one match a month, but regardless, like he'd been around for 5 years, in-ring career 5 years, terrible. Like just terrible. Again, I'm with Brad. It's like, is he the worst wrestler I've ever seen? No, but he's in the discussion because he's terrible. Like
he doesn't sell like at all.
Not to like say anything about Shad. Like Shad was actually in the ring, was good, but if I've never been in a wrestling ring.
I was okay.
Well, I'm gonna hype you up, brother. But if I get in the ring, I have never been in a wrestling ring. I think, and I've never been trained a day in my life. I'm sure if I could get in the ring, I could probably do a passable better job. At least I would sell.
At least I could
I could
yell
sell.
if I was in a camel clutch, unlike him. And you could get like it's one of those matches where his opponents are like legitimately punching and kicking him because that's the only way to get him to react to anything.
Yeah.
Look, we've been doing USWA, like watching it. Richard Lee as a manager, and sometimes like they have him do like in-ring wrestling stuff. The limited amount of stuff I've seen Richard Lee do in ring, he is like way better than Bone Crusher was.
Now,
And this is a guy like I don't know what training he ever had, but he was way better. He
that
at least understood.
that that fat Kentucky sweat hog Charlie Trapper might be the worst wrestler I've ever seen.
Now
Like,
wait a minute. Don't you put that on us? Don't you put that on? Didn't they say he came up from Alabama?
So that fat Tennessee sweat hog, Charlie Trapper, legitimately might be the worst wrestler I've ever seen.
He's
I
bad.
don't even know if you can call him a wrestler. That might be his only saving grace for being the worst wrestler ever.
I was gonna say it's Charlie Trapper or the Irish Assassin.
You know, I found he had more matches after that.
Did he?
Yeah, he had a couple years. I think he might have
He
jobbed
was-
in the WWE once.
He was so stiff he couldn't move. Like he was so bulky and stiff he couldn't move.
Yeah,
Oh well, whatever.
but this guy would be definitely in the conversation because his parts. Thankfully they keep him very limited in this. Thankfully.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fine when it's like Rudy Boy and them doing stuff when Bone Crusher gets involved, it's bad.
Yeah. There's no saving that.
Like he can't even run the ropes very well. His strikes look like garbage. He doesn't sell.
Yeah.
I don't think he did any other moves because he wasn't capable of it. He's too small for the gimmick he's doing. He's not a big guy. He's bigger than Danielson and Spanky, but like Danielson is more like muscularly defined than he is. So you have this guy doing this like prisoner gimmick, and he's not big or scary.
I don't know. I don't know why it reminded me, but I was also thrown by a particular choice that happened in this. Is the American Dragon's entrance music was born in the USA, and I'm like, huh?
Oh,
It's
I
a
noticed that too.
choice.
It's recognizable.
It's recognizable, but I mean, still, I would have picked many things before I would have picked that.
It was very outdated by this time too.
Yeah.
That's like a wrestling problem, but it's like almost 2000 and you're doing like 80s music.
Wasn't that one a 70s Springsteen?
No, I think that was 80s. That was in his like that was in his like trifecta of crappy like trying to get like a number one hit. It was that and Dancing in the Dark and Glory Days.
I appreciate Glory Days. I have fond memories of Dancing in the Dark because it makes me laugh.
Well, and Courtney Cox.
Because I remember seeing the video with Courtney Cox dancing so poorly in that video.
And he didn't get number one off that one, I think, because of Prince. That was the closest he ever got.
Game blouses.
Well, he did. I think the number one hit he's involved with, he wrote, which is "Blinded by the Dark," which he didn't perform, obviously. But Blind by the Light. Sorry, Blind by the Light.
Oh, Manfred. Well, that was covered by Manfred Mann.
But he wrote that. He didn't perform it. So.
Hang on. Now I got to look this up.
What? Who?
I got to look up some Springsteen stuff because my memories. Now the other thing. Look, I appreciate Springsteen a lot, but the thing that really, and this is gonna sound so weird, because to me Springsteen was always someone who's just, he was around, right? He he's a guy he was around and he was a known name and that sort of stuff. But his theme song from The Wrestler was so good it would bring me to tears. Like he infused so much emotion into that with the idea of the broken down whatever it was that was still out there giving it what they had to give. Like that just hit me right in the core. And I don't just mean watching it over the credits, but
I think it's ironic you bring that came up because we're talking about Bryan Danielson. I've always said like the wrestler should have been like a warning to not end up like this, not a viable life path.
well, and Danielson, um, Danielson retired at a, before everything fell apart for him. And I'll be honest
Did
with you,
he?
man.
Did he?
He's Shad. He's one deli slicer away from making a comeback.
Just okay. Let me put it this way: from me hearing him talk about it, it's like it's at least sounded to me like he recognized
He is a smack addict, and wrestling is his smack. Like I'm just saying. Like he just needs to get it.
everybody who's gone out and gotten in that ring is a smack addict.
That's what
I
that's what I tell people when like an athlete gets back into a game with an obvious concussion and people are like, well, they said they were okay. I'm like, yes, because they're an athlete.
they
They're
lied.
Yeah, you have to treat them like in football, in wrestling, in boxing, and anything. If they say they can go, you have to treat them like an addict and make the decision for them because they are always going to say they're going to be able to go. Like if you
Yeah.
cut their arm off, they're going to be like, well, if I just get this prosthetic, I bet I could play again.
Gonna tape it back
Who
on.
who was it? Was it Ronnie Lott? Who was it in football? Like they injured. It was like a big. Maybe was it the Super Bowl? It was some big game, and the football player like messed up, jammed up his finger.
Oh, I needed it
It
was
might.
Ronnie Lott. He was gonna miss
I think it was already.
he was gonna
Yeah,
miss like 8 weeks. He was gonna miss like 8 to 12 weeks if he had surgery on it. So he had him cut like part of it off to
yeah. They're like, well, if you cut part of it off, like you can just go right back out there. We'll just tape it
yeah.
up, go back here, just like do it, and he did, and it's like that story that you're like, that can't be. It's like you don't understand how insane some of these people are.
Oh, I love Ronnie Lott though because if you new younger people probably have never seen him, but like he's a very soft spoken man. And if you go watch film of him on the NFL field, he's just wrecking people. Like there was this one where like Warren Moon like juked him out, like he pretended like he was gonna go out of bounds and like faked him out. Or he was gonna go slide and then Ronnie's like, well, like I wasn't gonna let him do that again. So Moon kind of went to slide and Lot just destroyed him. This is back in the 80s when you could like because people talk about like quarterbacks now and they're like, well, these guys in the 80s were throwing 20 interceptions a year. It's like, yeah, did you see what would happen if they threw down the middle of the field? You were literally getting someone murdered. Like literally,
Yeah.
you were getting them legally murdered because they were going to get their head taken off their body.
Yeah.
But anyway,
By the way, Brad,
yeah.
it looks like Born in the USA did hit #1.
Oh, I thought he never had like a #1 for like.
Not what I'm seeing.
I got
not really important, but
I chuckled a few minutes ago, Brad, because it just made me think about Opie and Anthony, and Anthony talking about
Yeah.
songs about Wendy.
Yeah.
Hey, Wendy. I've never been a Bruce Springsteen fan. I will
It's okay. He's okay.
honestly say
I
that.
appreciate him. I appreciate him. I'm not necessarily a big fan, but I appreciate him.
His less popular stuff, I think, is like more interesting than like the stuff you've heard. Like you just hear some random shit he did in the '70s. It's kind of like, oh, okay, that's okay. I don't mind it. But tags, whatever. It's fine. It's a TV tag. Just furthers the angle. There's nonsense. So then we go to the next match, which is I'm gonna I might say this wrong. So it's American Dragon versus Busta Times, who doesn't have
Buster
like
time.
who does not have a
Yeah.
cage match thing. And I was a little traumatized after the Bone Crusher thing, but then they start wrestling like, oh, okay, this guy is a competent professional wrestler. Was my
He's
takeaway.
not great. He's not great, but he's
He's-
perfectly serviceable.
He sells, he can bump, he knows what to do. His timing's good, his footwork's decent. Like it's just like
his timing is good. He has much better ring positioning. Like he's actually like he understands what he has to do out
got
there.
a little bit of charisma to him.
Yeah.
And this was fine.
It is enough. Yeah, he is. It is enough that he is. He's believable.
Mm.
You know, he's got enough going for him that works.
And
good
he's
for him.
he's also like okay enough where you're like, I'm not angry this is on my TV like you are with Bone Crusher. I was just like, I'm not angry this man is on my TV. So they have a pretty good back and forth match. I think he actually, for a bigger guy, he's pretty non-egotistical about taking Danielson's offense. I don't remember the name of his tag partner, but I guess his tag partner who he's feuding with interferes and costs him the match. And I was like, yay, Danielson finally won a match.
Yeah, that was one thing I got from watching this. Is like, oh, this is the best of the American Dragon in TWA. Lose.
Oh, he beat Shooter Schultz.
Lose. And I'm like, is this supposed to be like? Was the thinking he's so good that he doesn't need wins to be over? But even with that being said, I'm like, come on, man.
And then the last match is him and Spanky teaming up against it was Busta Times, I think, and then who was the other guy?
Love Machine.
Oh yeah, Love Machine. Chaz the Love Machine, that's right. And then I was sad because I don't know if they didn't have it like logged right. So I'm like, oh, is this Chaz Taylor? I think he's a little too big to be Chaz Taylor. Who would have made sense because he's in the GWF. And he would have been like the son of like a guy, like I would say a guy that's on like a lot of Texas shows in that era, Tugboat Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the cage match was concerned, this guy had no entry. This was fine. I did appreciate he did come out to the proper music if your nickname is the Love Machine.
Why am I blanking on it?
It's I don't know the name of it. It's the one that they play during the dance in heavyweights when they all start dancing. It's a disco song. I don't know the name of it or who sings it.
Now I've got to look because I can't.
And again, it was fine. It was fine. I thought this was like a fun little hour. Like I said, I kind of want to now look for more TWA stuff because I'm kind of like intrigued by it. Because it was competent TV. Like there's a lot of indies that really suck, and I was watching this. I'm like, well, you know, the camera works pretty good. Like it's obviously low production, but they actually understand how to have a production. I didn't mind their ringside, like how they set that up. They kind of made it look good. They have a bigger ring. They have a really big ring. The ring's absurdly big. I think they had a WWE sized ring. Is what I think.
It wouldn't surprise me.
The crowds were pretty hot. I hated the TWA chant. Like you don't have to do that for every promotion, guys. Like, and it doesn't come out right.
Yeah. This was overall, this was an overall top to bottom, just well put together, not on TV, not on national TV promotion. There's seen a lot of stuff that didn't look, hell, a lot of ECW didn't look. This was on par with a lot of ECW, I should say.
Yeah, I'd say.
I don't want to oversell it.
ECW probably looked a tad better most of the time, especially in this era. But like, it would be on par. And I think like you can really see it's interesting. I think it's worth watching because Danielson is obviously a star still in this, or a star in the making. But it's interesting seeing him wrestle like more of I'd say a 90s, like a more minimalist 90s style that would be more of its era?
I think that if you were to put Danielson in 1996 cruiserweight division, he would solidly have belonged.
Yeah.
I don't, at this point in his career, I don't think he would have been a standout, but he would have solidly belonged. And to say that for someone who is a year or less in the business, no wonder, right? Like, no wonder he went on to be like one of the legitimate like GOAT contenders. It's just the level of skill and how he picked it up is just unreal.
Yeah, I could have seen turning on like Saturday night and seeing him wrestle like Chip Minton or Norman Smiley.
Oh, now I'm thinking.
Or a match of the Viano here and there.
I think he. Okay, I know exactly what I think I could have seen. He would have been a guy that had a surprisingly good match where Ultimo Dragon defended the cruiserweight title, and you would have been like, "Wow, that was a lot better than I thought that guy would be."
Actually, I did like when Sean and the announcer guy Ken Vargas were making jokes about Ultimate Dragon. Because Shawn Michaels is like, well, he's trying to be an Ultimate Dragon, and the other guy's like, isn't there already one of those? And then they just kind of laughed, which I thought was pretty good. But Spanky's also like a step above, and he does have an it factor, but he's much more indie. Like it's like, okay, this guy needs like Danielson. I could have seen like immediately being in like WCW in this era, just even by his look. But Spanky's kind of like, well, he's got to do some work.
Spanky had so much more personality in all of this. And
he's just too small.
That was the thing that would have held him back, yeah. But he could go, and his personality just shone through.
He obviously improved with in time, but he was he was very much of this era. Like he was dynamic. He had really interesting, cool offense, but he was also like really small, and there are guys like in that you would see like even shortly after this in like Ring of Honor and other places, the indie scene, who are a lot like him.
I wonder how old he was.
Like Jack Evans. Jack Evans was small and would do all sorts of crazy stuff in the ring too. So
yeah.
I have to say, I was never a big Jack Evans fan. Oh, I'm looking up the wrong person.
Me neither. He was fine, but it's
people would way overhype him though.
This is kind of like,
so Spanky would have been 20 here. Because I was wondering if he was young. Because I was kind of wondering, like, he did get a little bigger, and I was wondering if, maybe he didn't get like that, early. He hadn't filled out like you kind of do in your early 20s.
Yeah. Well, and to be honest, he had like a fantastic example of that completely unearned swagger that you have when you're 20 years old too. Yeah.
Danielson would have been 18 or 19 in these matches.
This was the first place Danielson went and trained and worked, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't he like hop in the car and drive down from Tacoma to go work for Shawn Michaels Academy, I think?
Yeah.
Wow.
So he would have been, okay, so based on this, so his debut was October 4th, 1999. So he would have been, I don't think any of these went into October of 2000, so he would have been like probably 6 to 8 months would be all this stuff. Michaels in the first one refers to it he's been doing it for 6 months, so he might not have been kayfabing that. You never know. You never know. He might have been kayfabing it, but
yeah.
But yeah, these are on YouTube. I think it's worth looking them up just because it's fun. It's like fun, like I would just say television wrestling from like the 90s. And I think it's interesting. And there's some other interesting factors. Like I think it's interesting to see Shawn Michaels not in the WWE, um, seeing him on commentary. Like it's kind of interesting.
It's it's very different. I remember hearing about it, that Shawn Michaels is going to be running a promotion in Texas and they're going to be doing this sort of stuff. And I remember, I mean, this is when I was a senior in high school, and I'm thinking, I wonder what that would be like. Because I mean, looking back on it now, I can put this to it. I couldn't tell you why I was thinking that way at the time because it was too long ago, but the idea of someone who is so naturally talented not being able to be a good trainer because they can't explain why or how they did it that way. They just did, which is why I think that if you want a really good wrestling trainer, you need somebody who was a solid hand and worked around a lot and was probably a mid-card guy because that meant that they had to train and work and learn and scrabble for every bit that they got
Rip
so they
Rogers, Larry
understood it.
Sharp. But Dominic DeNucci was actually successful. He was like the
Right.
number 2 and 3 face in WWE at the WWF at the time. So he would be an outlier. Who else is like a
It would
notorious?
not surprise me, like, just bear with me for a second. It would not surprise me if Matt Bloom was actually a pretty good trainer, but there's so many from what I understand, there's so many cooks in the kitchen at the NXT Performance Center that it's really hard to get a grasp on it.
Tom Pritchard's a good trainer. Danny Davis, Jim Cornette to a degree. I don't know how much Jim Cornette trained though, but like, I'm trying to think of other guys who have produced like a lot of talent. I think the problem is um, I think the really super talented guys, like you said, um, struggle because they just say, "Well, I just do it," and that's true across other sports. But you don't want your Matt DeMott types, your Bill DeMott types, who were kind of feel like they were failures and are taking out their small
Yeah,
dick energy on you and their
yeah,
frustrations about their own life on you.
yeah. It's the other thing that I think is so important for a good trainer, not just what I said before, but also because one thing that seems to be the case to me is that there doesn't seem to be a lot of people who, you know what, I could be really wrong about this because I didn't do a lot of symposiums and workshops that people did and that sort of thing, but in my training it seemed like there was an awful lot of you got to figure stuff out for yourself, and to have someone who will sit there and go, okay, look, we do this because this, we do this because this, we do this because this, which I think, memory might be failing me, but I think Les Thatcher did that with Heartland because I think Mox talks about it in his book. And it's not just the what you do, but this is why you do it, and this is why you do it this way. And God, if I had someone just sit down and explain that sort of stuff to me at the beginning, I would have improved a lot fast. Well, excuse me, improved a lot faster.
I have a funny story about Les Thatcher. I guess he's in a Phil Singer game group, and like sometimes you post your results and stuff, and he's commented on my post before if I booked him.
So, to give credit to somebody that I've seen footage from doing these seminars, I saw Matt Cardona doing one of those footage from him doing one of those seminars, and he did something I've never seen anybody else do. He's sitting there and he's talking to him, and he goes, some guys, they're going to go out there and they are going to put everything they've got into doing this, make or break. That's all they want, so that's all they're going to do. and that's great. And there are some guys that are going to go out there and they work hard and they could get to be pretty good, but this is something they do on weekends and they have a regular day job and that sort of stuff. And he goes, and that's good too, because we need those kinds of people around. Not everybody is going to be the person that kills them for it. And first of all, who are you going to work with? And then second, those guys are going to understand stuff that you need to learn. And I was just like, oh my God, I have never heard anybody in the business ever say something like that. Like
I thought for a minute you were gonna say he was taking payment in action figures.
no, this was a positive thing.
I agree with that sentiment though, because I think what he also was kind of intimating, but it's true. Like the guys just doing like the weekend warrior guys that have like a day job, like have less ego too, so they're probably gonna give you like more like sincere advice and like
Yeah.
not lead you wrong or be like, hey, stay away from that guy. He's a tool.
Their entire self-worth is not wrapped up in wrestling. Like they have self-worth that is separate from that business. And when there are people who like their entire self-worth is wrapped up in one or two things and they run into somebody who's also into it and maybe on the level they're in or above, they get real like tight and tense and like
You mean like a certain Reddit community getting a Helldivers player fired from their job for like doing a challenge to the devs?
Yep. Fuck those people.
And on top of that, they did it to the guy that didn't even do the thing that pissed them off.
Yeah.
And the other
original guy Yeah. The original guy says, you know what? I'll donate $1,000 to the charity of your choice if the balance team will go.
Which he was going to donate anyway, which is a key part that all they did was make sure charity doesn't get $1,000.
Yeah, they got to pick which charity it was. That was it. But just go in and have them run a. I think it was run a.
It was run a
full operation at level 10.
Yeah, and another guy came through and had them doing it with like beginner gear, and that's what like pissed everyone off.
Well, like specific loadouts, and they went after this first guy, got him barred from working with this horse therapy, like this equine therapy place he'd been volunteering with for more than a decade, and then got him fired from his job because they're insecure little shits who can't accept the fact that it's like, hey, you enjoy this game, there's some good stuff about it, but there's some stuff they can improve on too. And it's just like, what is wrong with you?
And then like everyone assumed it was the guy that did the specific loadouts that they were going after, and he's like, and the mods keep deleting his post. We're like, can you stop DMing me, please? Because I'm not the guy that got fired, and the mods keep deleting it.
Yeah. Oh God,
sorry,
that is a mess.
I was just reading about that.
Like I like that game. I enjoy that game. I play that game regularly, but I do not play it. If I play it with randos, it is for one mission, and I have my voice chat turned off. I typically play it with people I already know. It's like, hey guys, let's dive and blow some stuff up and have some fun.
I'm also convinced that Reddit is now the most toxic shithole on the internet.
It has set itself up. What, worse than YouTube comments?
I think it's the worst because they were heavily involved in like the Ethan Klein CPS call and a lot of the harassment geared towards him. Still to this point, they've been heavily involved in that. There's been some other things they've done.
Yeah, there's a K. Trevor Wilson comedy bit. He says the internet is the best and worst thing that could have happened, because before that, someone would be around people and say something really stupid, and you go, what the hell are you talking about? Shut up and never talk about it again. But you put it on the internet and somebody 700 miles away goes, well, I think you got a point. Now you're dealing with a movement. It's like, yeah.
I think it was fine until like normies and Zoomers started getting on the internet, and then it kind of went to shit.
We were not going to be able to avoid, like, with the way that the internet was being used and marketed and everything, we were not going to be able to avoid it just being used by everybody. Wasn't going to happen.
Yeah,
But
I
the
know.
problem is that everything has now, they have worked so hard to focus everything into certain nodes of community and connection that all the garbage bubbles to the surface unless you curate the hell out of
Well,
your settings.
I think I think COVID made it worse, and like the fact that everyone got kind of hyper political around that time has made it worse. Um, and I think it's pretty much encouraged by a lot of these platforms. Reddit especially encourages bad behavior. Like,
Well, okay, I can't remember where it was, but there's a great interview I saw where the guy points out, he says, it used to be, who was it that advertisers typically went after? It was young men because they would be more impulsive with their spending. And the thinking for years and years was sex sells. And then they discovered that there is an even better way to keep engaged, sell things and or keep people engaged. And that is to piss them off. Because rage will incite harsher knee-jerk reactions and get you fired up and keep you engaged more and longer, and it's easier to do.
I think they're kind of going back on that now because they're finding out, like, especially you're seeing it in like BreadTube, where you can't keep people mad and hyper vigilant all the time because you burn them out and then they just tune out. Because you're kind of seeing the sex cells coming back because people are burnt out on rage, and it's not working as well anymore.
They need some sort of dopamine hit, I guess.
Well, I think
Rage. Now, I guess swinging back to sex.
well, because I think back when we were younger, and people still say it, but it's not true anymore. Where they're like, "Well, no publicity is bad publicity." It's like, well, no, that's not true anymore because you can have some.
It's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As the Flash taught us, when you're assaulting women on the streets and having some weird sex cult in your house, like that does affect your PR
bad. That's bad publicity, and nobody wants to be a part. No one wants to be connected with it.
But I think we're in a, like, I don't know where it's gonna go because I think like the last year, like, and you're seeing it a lot with like political YouTubers where like people have checked out and like what people want, because you're seeing people want more non-political content because they're burnt out on it, and I think you're gonna see that shift, like what advertising works now, and it can really bite you in the ass as some like product lines have learned when you piss people off the wrong way.
I
still think Reddit's the worst though. Reddit has become like, because I really don't use Reddit anymore. I used to, but like it's like such a hateful like cesspool now. I just can't anymore with it.
I curate the hell out of my Reddit experience. I do not go to any of the big recommended ones. It's like nope.
Oh, there's the worst.
The biggest community that I'll actually use is Squared Circle, and the only reason I use Squared Circle is because I don't have a subscription to everybody who posts breaking news or anything like that. And somebody on Reddit is always going to post it trying to get internet clout.
I can't with my problem with Squared Circle now is all they do is post about WWE, and if you say one good thing about AEW, you just get a like, is this just an AEW sub now?
It's you pick which threads you click on, man.
They routinely have the worst takes. Like they were trying to will like Killer Cross into being a thing. And it's like, guys, he's not over. Like he's never gonna be over. Like you're the only group of people that care.
What are you gonna say, Matt?
I don't even bother because I feel like it's toxic and it adds nothing of value to me.
I only go on Squared Circle now if something happens. I'm like, I want to see what the stupid people think about this, and I'll go on Squared Circle.
I don't even read their stuff.
Because, like, I don't know, Twitter's kind of self-corrected in the wrestling space because, like, the shills that were ruining it get, like, routinely clowned on now. So that's kind of gotten better. I just kind of stay out of it, though. Like, the wrestling community's just got problems.
Yeah, it does.
Because, like,
Yeah.
because there's this, like, no thinking for yourself allowed. No, even if, like, and you even see that with, like, AEW fans.
Like I said, I curate my online spaces because, frankly, I don't want to. There's a level of crap I just don't want to deal with, and so if there's stuff like that, I'm just like, nope, 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 nope. I'm
And,
not.
like,
You're muted or you're blocked or whatever, so that I don't have to deal with you,
and,
and I go on with my life.
and it's also hilarious. I don't read stuff, but, like, I've gotten back into MMA the last, like, 6 months. And I was like, I just was like, I'm gonna go on SureDog and I'm gonna go into the MMA on Reddit and see what they're talking about. And I swear to God, they're bitching about the exact same shit as they were like 15 years ago and acting like this is like so unique to the, because they're like, oh my God, like the fighters are just so terrible and like the main events are so bad. And I'm like, you motherfuckers were bitching about GSP like being a decision machine back in the day and how boring it was. Like, I don't want to hear it. Like, you're just bitching about the same stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, the one that drives me nuts with that they still do is that if you get like a 30-27 decision, they like absolutely lose their mind. Like, it should have been 29-28. It's like, who cares?
You know, win's a win, right?
Yeah, like who cares? That one always gets me. But so I don't know. I thought it was fun. Did you guys enjoy young Danielson?
Oh yeah,
I did.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Matt.
Well, yeah, I did. It was interesting to see him very early on in his career, but you could see that some of the pieces that would later obviously become the complete picture of Danielson were there. So it was interesting to see like an early version of himself before he added some of the more technical aspect stuff, and he was playing more of a role, like you said, kind of like a late '90s, early 2000s cruiserweight. So it was interesting. I liked it.
It's fascinating to see the differences because there are some things that are just so very different from where he started to where he began, and then seeing the threads that do run through it.
Yeah, I kind of thought the interesting part about the Spanky matches in him is it's seeing two guys that you're very familiar with and who have like tropes you're familiar with and seeing them do none of them because they haven't developed those tropes yet. And like, so everything's kind of like an adventure of like, oh, I don't know what they're going to do. Because they're still learning. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But I think it is interesting when you do see like them though and seeing guys that made it, but you can tell like just from there, it's just like, oh yeah, these guys have like that intangible it factor that like Busted Time didn't have, who, or even Rudy Boy, who like might be technically sound, like might be decent wrestlers, but they just don't have that little extra mix that makes them special.
Mm-hmm. Very solid, very capable, but you see why they didn't progress beyond where they were.
Yeah.
Which is not a knock. Okay.
Sometimes you just have a skill, like you only have your skills only go so far. Like I've told the story, like someone went to like an NFL training camp, they got drafted and they were a skill position player and they said, oh yeah, I knew I was screwed because I looked over and a 320-pound lineman was running as fast as I was and he wasn't even like struggling.
Yeah.
Or you see it with beer league stuff like, oh yeah, this like 50-year-old man that played like one NHL game came in and he schooled all of us horribly.
So there's a comedian, Greg Warren, who has a bit specifically about that because he was a high school and college Greco-Roman guy. And in college, his coach goes, I want you to get some more practice in against some different people. I'll have you work with Steve. And he's like, all right. And Steve comes in, and Steve is like 50, and he's a farmer. And Greg, he was like, I don't want to hurt this guy or anything. And they go and they're okay, all right, you're gonna wrestle Steve. And he's like, Steve, do you need to warm up? And Steve just kind of like claps at both of his knees and like, oh, I'm good. And then, as it turns out, he gets on the mat with Steve, thinking he needs to go easy with him. And in his words, Steve beat me with me. He picked me up and beat me with myself because Steve had been on the 1980 Olympic team where they boycotted it in Russia, and he was still mad about it. And like he's just wrecking, this college age Division I NCAA Greco-Roman guy, just destroying him. So
Oh, that would have been. My first reaction is like if they said they were on a farm, I'd immediately be on on the defensive about that.
yeah, they're going to be strong.
Because someone was talking about something like, no, I know some farm girls that would wreck your shit if they had a hankering to.
Yeah, you just don't.
So I think I weighed, because there was someone I worked with, and I think I weighed about 220 pounds at the time, and she could literally pick me up.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I would have liked the bit. He works on a farm. Like, okay, well, he's going to be really strong, so I'm going to be extra careful.
Yeah. Yeah. Just that story. Your story highlights it for you. That one highlights it for me. So
just the just the talent. Yeah, just the talent disparity. Because I think that's what people don't realize. Like with pro sports, like the shittiest guy in the NFL would wreck like a college team and wreak havoc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's
that would suck though, wrestling a guy that's still mad about the 1980 Olympics and he's taking it out on you.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So I think we're gonna pick some more matches. I do want to do the Nigel McGuinness series of matches because I think those are probably like, I don't know, his more famous work. There's the Roderick Strong match, and then there's the Hushin Liger match. Are kind of on my radar. I was thinking about WWE matches, but I don't know what I would do. We maybe might do the Moxley match for his last one in Blue Panther. Those are also on my radar. We've already done the Omega match, so I don't feel the need to retread that.
Yeah, and we don't need to reinvent the wheel.
I don't know, what would be his best like WWE match?
Ooh, that's tough.
If you want to piss people off, say it was with Tony Nese and see what happens.
Oh, would it be the SummerSlam match with Cena where he won the title? Would that be his best WWE match?
I don't know. I don't have a good enough recall to be able to have a.
I'm sure there's good ones. Yeah, like it's hard with that era because there were like, I think that's the one era where the work was like of a higher standard for a while, and so like having good matches in his like prime era, that doesn't stand out as much, I think.
Yeah.
But I think that is it for this week. I think this was a fun little side journey. I'm glad we did this because I've always been interested in doing stuff with his mask, just because I think it's a bit of a novelty, and I would think most people haven't seen him work with his mask before.
To be honest, I had never watched a full match of his in the mask, and that mask would have driven me crazy with the bits that came way out on the side.
That would drive me absolutely bonkers.
I don't think he necessarily wore it much outside of the TWA. Like I think by the time he was in like the ECWA in like 2001, he doesn't have it on. And he
Mhm.
definitely didn't have it by 2002 for Ring of Honor. Like I think even in Memphis he didn't. We watched the Regal match from 2001. He didn't have the mask, so I would say by
Yeah.
the time he went to WWE development, he didn't have it anymore.
Oh yeah.
Which I think's
Yeah, we had ditched it by then, but
yeah. But I think it worked for like what you said Michaels wanted to do. Like he wanted to treat him like a more established talent
yeah.
versus like a rookie.
Yeah.
Which I actually think that's thinking about it, like that is actually a really smart way to handle it.
Because no one's going to believe that he was a rookie. Everyone's going to be like, wait, what? No, not him. Huh.
Yeah. A little too good. Especially since he's not like a second generation guy and you're like, oh, this is like Wahoo McDaniel's son, and he's just like a prodigy at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was all like, oh, this weird vegetarian from like Washington State came down, and he's just amazing at this. Like, I think doesn't sell the same.
Yeah, it doesn't really work.
I don't know if he was a vegetarian in this era, actually.
I don't remember. I know that he
He's
quit it at one point because he said it was too hard to do on the road.
wait, he was
But
having. I think he doesn't do it anymore because he of health reasons too. But
that would make sense. Yeah.
I think that is it for this week. Like I said, we are not going to be on the air next week. We'll be back probably with the Nigel McGuinness series, I think is what I'm going to do next. Because I think there's 3 of those that I have. Which is probably peak Ring of Honor. So, been doing a lot of Ring of Honor. I actually am happy we were doing this series because I feel like the aughts are like a real hole in our catalog of like reviews, and we've been filling in a lot of aughts
Mm-hmm.
this past month.
It was an odd time as a fan.
Yeah, I like a lot of stuff. I watched a lot, enjoyed a lot of stuff. I think because that feels less exploratory to me because I lived through it, a lot of
Mhm.
it. So it's not like, oh, I want to go back and visit the old like high school again. It's kind of just like, oh, I've been there, done that. But yeah, I think it's been interesting, and I've been glad to be doing more aughts. We should get into the tens too, because the tens are really interesting, and we have a lot. It's hard to believe the tens are like, well, I mean, COVID's 6 years in the past now, so that stuff's getting back there now.
Yeah. Well, that just time distortion.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but I think that is it for this week. Thank you everyone for watching as always. We will be back. I think the 24th is the show we'll be back for. So
Yeah.
thank you as always for watching. We appreciate it, and we will catch you next time.